Wood for good for many reasons. Wood is scientific because it requires carbon dioxide in order to grow, and from storing it becomes a key player in countering climate change. Adam and Eve, Marks and Spencer, bacon and eggs, always spoken of together. Nature's partners are wood and CO2.
Trees have to have carbon dioxide. Without carbon dioxide, trees don't live. If scientists could find a way to suck some of the CO2 out of the atmosphere, that would be fantastic. But unfortunately, we haven't found a way to do this, and trees are the one positive step that we can take. If we plant more trees, those trees will be absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, storing it away in their timber, and that can only be good for the climate.
The chairman of the 2009 inquiry into forests and reducing climate change says even planting the equivalent of 14,000 rugby pitches a year for 40 years will still leave Britain with less forest cover than Germany or France. His report highlighted the ability of carbon to be stored in buildings.
One of our messages was we must get more trees on the ground. It's absolutely essential that we use this biological capability to lock up carbon. If you can find a use for the building material, that carbon lockup doesn't stop when you fell the tree. Then, of course, you've kept the carbon locked away for even longer. And one can talk about 200 years then. And that's an aspect, I think, of forestry which has often been overlooked.
Wood is sustainable because harvesting practices are now much more in tune with the wishes of environmental NGOs and local people. Here's a professor of forestry on how those who design and build with wood can learn more.
Architects, I think, have to know more about the products that they're specifying, because the consumer is going to become more sophisticated in its demands, as we've seen with sustainability labelling. And I think the same is going to happen with carbon. And architects are going to have to understand those subtleties around the different products so that they can respond to their clients, their specifiers, their customers, and specify what they need and what they want in the future. And it'd be great if the forest industry and the architects could work together to make that happen.
Then there's the biodiversity which flows from well-managed forests.
We're a relatively young forest industry, and it's only over the last 20 years that we really have begun to mature and really take advantage of the wider opportunities that exist within many of our woodlands to manage beyond the timber, to enhance the environment, look after the biodiversity, and really make the forests these wonderful habitats that they are.
Wood is beneficial from the jobs it provides. Start at the very beginning with the planting of young trees at a forest nursery in northeast Scotland. There's continuity of employment here, which is important to a rural economy.
Obviously, over many years we've employed a lot of people, and it's a lot of money back into the community. We're part of a chain, really, I think, the way we have to look at it. If you look at the way the woodlands are growing, the involvement between planters and contractors and harvesting we're into now, and the wood that's been used, just generally, obviously a lot of people incorporate in that too.
There's continuing and substantial investment in modern technology at sawmills and board manufacturers across Britain. This provides security in supply of timber products for potential buyers. 150,000 people work in Britain's timber industry. It's worth £18 billion every year to the economy. Wood is efficient in the energy required producing timber, and in the way its use in construction safeguards the environment. So now study the architecture of London 2012's Velodrome, and speaking from within the remarkable library of wood at the Building Research Establishment, hear the verdict of a timber expert.
The Velodrome is a really great story. Not only is it a superb visual iconic building for the Olympics, it's got a really superb hidden story. They came up with an incredibly innovative roofing system. So that lightweight roof, as a result of the timber that was utilised, meant that the structure of the Velodrome building itself could be a lot lighter weight a lot less steel was necessary in the main structure of the building. So that results in huge overall savings for that building, if we talk about embodied carbon of that total building, which is a great story.
And here's one member of the British cycling squad for London 2012 on his liking for wood.
They don't build an awful lot of velodromes, so they're always tweaking their design slightly and looking for the fastest. I think it's recognised that wood is the fastest surface to ride on. There are concrete tracks which are indoors, and even though the shape can be identical to a wooden track, it's never quite as fast.
Social housing in the Highlands of Scotland and the wide-ranging specification of timber has allowed the development's award-winning architect to deliver economic and environmental efficiency.
We needed to get prices and quality and value all into the mix and eliminate as much wastage as possible, not least of all for sustainability issues, to ensure that we weren't wasting material that was then going off into landfill sites, that any material we did use, we used efficiently.
Wood is exciting because Britain's most innovative architects continue to create stunning and successful buildings from timber. Equally important to these architects is the environmental benefit that every cubic metre of wood in construction locks away 0.9 of a tonne of carbon.
We set up White Design to deliver more sustainable outcomes in the built and natural environment. And one of the few ways we can actually deliver on that with a passion is through the use of wood. I think we're going through a renaissance in construction. It doesn't matter whether you're in the education sector, the retail sector or the commercial sector. The uptake of wood products is going through the roof, and it's a very exciting time to be a designer.
A new visitor gateway to Edinburgh's Royal Botanic Garden won prizes for another practice committed to wood.
Well, we worked very hard with our engineers and our clients to develop a timber structure that would give the sense of a kind of forest canopy to the building. And we've exposed all the structural elements, so the walls, the ceilings, the floors, and the roof structure, the beams, are all exposed timber. And of course, our botanic gardens are very interested in making a building out of dead plants. So, timber was the obvious choice, I think.
I think it's fantastic. I think the way in which we've moved beyond just stick technology to the idea we can make new engineered products from wood and do things, larger span structures, all sorts of things, which we couldn't do with just a tree. But taking what we've learned from other industries and applying it to timber and moving it into a much more high technology approach to construction rather than low technology, which we've always seen timber to be, a kind of log cabin mentality. And things are moving now to a very, very sophisticated level of design and timber construction.
Wood is versatile because it's now possible to build higher in timber. Murray Grove in Hackney in North London is the proof. 9 stories, 8 of them constructed in engineered timber. This is the tallest modern timber residential structure in the world.
This is one of the first steps to show that we can do intensive urban architecture in timber. The entire structure is really a honeycomb of cross-laminated timber. It's boards pretty much of this thickness, all interlocked, verticals, horizontals, all working as a single unified structure. And just to be very clear, even the lift cores and the stair cores are made from cross-laminated timber. So it is a structure that is entirely made from timber, which makes it unique.
To allow wood to be applied in construction in so many ways, it now needs companies like this one in Scotland to understand the value to architects and specifiers of off-site manufacturing.
Really the concept here was to allow architects to use what we've invested in, which is a production line that follows a German model and allows us to build buildings in this type of environment, warm, dry, much better from a waste point of view, achieve much better levels of performance from an energy point of view, and really try and engage them in the process a wee bit more in terms of timber frame off-site manufacturing.
And a facility such as the Building Performance Assessment Centre, located in a hangar also in Scotland, allows architects and specifiers to have a wide range of timber applications researched and tested in line with ever-changing building regulations.
We're here testing sound insulation, structural dynamics of timber frame, timber buildings, the off-site potential that timber offers for the future and our housing supply needs, and some of the thermal characteristics for the future, which are so important, particularly when we look at fuel poverty and the very highly energy efficient homes for the future that timber and timber-based buildings will provide.
Wood is successful because well-known high street businesses more and more have turned to it as a preferred construction material. Question: why would Tesco build its latest stores in wood? Answer: speed of construction and environmental credentials are important to a major name in the retail sector.
We can now design and construct in the same time as we do a structural steel building. Timber is the preferred choice of material for the retail industry because it's far better aesthetic values, it's far better in its carbon neutral. It makes a true statement that we are genuinely using a renewable energy source and materials that we're leaving a legacy for our children.
The increasing use of wood by the retail sector when they build signals a wider renaissance in timber construction.
Never has more timber been used. It reflects, in my view, the incredible versatility of the product, the fact that it's got incredible strength to weight ratios, that it's versatile, can be manufactured into panel products, into solid timber elements, into a whole variety of elements, to enable construction of an entire building almost entirely from timber, from the point of view of the panels, the floors, the aesthetic quality of the cladding materials on the exterior, right the way through to the insulation that might go into that building, and indeed the energy source, of course, that might heat that building.
Wood is safe because the truth is that in the event of fire, timber burns in a predictable way, which in turn can be reflected in engineering design.
I'll give you an example. The columns we design on the structure behind you are 240mm squared. In a fire, its charring rate will allow that column to collapse after 60 minutes. By comparison, a structural steel column that is 200 square, it will take approximately 15 minutes to yield in a fire. Therefore, the fire brigade alone prefer the use of wood on construction sites because it's far more predictable, because wood chars, it doesn't burn.
Regular and intensive testing of every type of timber product is welcomed by Britain's chief fire officers.
The Fire and Rescue Service have not got a fundamental problem with the use of timber in building. We know how it will behave in fire, properly specified, properly constructed, in the right circumstances. It is a very good building material. However, we have to urge people to follow the steps as we're working through with the Timber Frame Association.
The industry also cooperates widely with chief fire officers on working practices during construction and beyond, all aimed at minimising the risk of fire.
Timber Frame is leading the way on information needed for safe sites and for safe construction and for safe designs. So that information is coming through all the time.
A past concern for timber products was infestation and rot caused by pests and weathering. But modern, properly tested treatments on the wood now have no environmental impacts and ensure long life for the timber.
All of these products have proven themselves in these tests, so architects can be reassured that with the right treatment and the right level of treatment, that the wood can give a good long service life.
Wood is healthy from the fact that trees give off oxygen as they grow, help to improve air quality and curb noise pollution. Just some of the reasons people like trees.
Well, they are clearly the lungs of the planet. I mean, forests give us our oxygen. They provide a fantastic opportunity for people to take recreation in the outdoors, in nature, surrounded by nature itself. It's good for the physical health because they're out walking, they're taking exercise. It's good for the mental health because it gives them an opportunity to relax, to de-stress, and sometimes also to socialise with friends or just to be alone. It's wonderful to be surrounded by nature.
Now in the future, if we increase the level of forest cover in order to meet the rising demand for sustainable wood, we in turn can get more and more people into forests